Basketball is probably my favorite sport to play, and I've been an avid basketball player for most of my life. Because of this, I would like to talk about the physics behind the bouncing of the basketball. It seems like a relatively simple concept, and most people can dribble a basketball at a very young age. However, there are a lot of physics concepts that are in play during the bounce of the basketball that go unnoticed to the general public. It truly goes to show that even the simplest of actions can have complex physics concepts explain them, and I hope to show this throughout this video. Here's a quick video of myself demonstrating how a basketball can be dribbled during a game. The first major concept of the bouncing of a basketball is its equilibrium shape. The equilibrium shape is the natural resting shape of an object where there are no forces acting on it. And for a basketball, it's a sphere. The equilibrium shape allows the basketball to store and release energy when it is distorted from this shape, and this happens when the basketball hits the ground on a dribble. As the basketball hits the floor, the shape is distorted, and this increases the ball's elastic potential energy. The ball's kinetic energy heading towards the floor is converted to elastic potential energy upon impact. In order for it to bounce back up, the elastic potential energy must be converted back to kinetic energy upon the ball's return to equilibrium shape. Collision energy refers to the kinetic energy absorbed during the collision, and rebound energy is the kinetic energy released during the rebound. Next, I will discuss the factors limiting a bounce, but first I'm going to show a slowed down video of a singular bounce dropped from rest. The basketball's bounce has certain limitations due to multiple factors. The first being that some of the ball's collision energy is converted to thermal energy, and thus the rebound energy is not as high. This is also known as the coefficient of restitution, which is the rebound speed of the ball divided by the collision speed of the ball. A perfect ratio would be 1 to 1. However, a basketball has a 0.8 ratio, which means the rebound energy is 80% of the collision energy. And as seen in the video that I just showed, the slowed down motion of just a singular drop, you can see that the ball doesn't go to where I dropped it from, and actually does seem to be around 80% of where where it was dropped. And this is also due to other reasons why it's not exactly around the 80%, because the material on the ball also matters. The standard NBA ball is made of leather, which is not the best material for increasing the coefficient of restitution, whereas a plastic basketball would have a higher coefficient of restitution. And the ball that I was using, it wasn't necessarily plastic, but it wasn't really official leather either. It was not official NBA ball. So it definitely makes sense why there was a decent amount of bounce back on there. But yet again, it was still around the 80%. And finally, the overall PSI of the ball, or how inflated the ball is, has an effect on the rebound speed of the ball. A basketball stores energy in compressed air, which is what gives it a relatively high coefficient of restitution. However, an underinflated ball would not bounce as well. My ball, it was pretty well, filled up, the PSI. I don't know the exact PSI. However, I do know that it definitely wasn't under or overinflated. It was kind of in that nice sweet spot, and that is why the NBA has regulations on the PSI of a basketball to keep that aspect of the bounce regulated. So every single ball has the same amount of air in it. So that's not really a big factor in the NBA itself. The physics behind this simple concept has really changed my view on how complex every single action we do is. Bouncing the basketball up and down can be done by anyone. However, most people don't realize how much is going on behind the scenes physics-wise to allow that action to be possible. It truly gives me a greater appreciation not only for physics, but for professional athletes as well. Dribbling a basketball is by far the easiest part of playing basketball, and even that has a lot of interesting physics concepts to explain it. Before this class, dribbling was just something I did when I played basketball. However, now when I dribble, I realize there's so much more at play than just throwing the ball down and it bouncing back up. Learning this through the example of basketball has not only given me a deeper appreciation for our professional athletes and the skill involved, but the overall significance of physics in our everyday life.